Hello. I wanted to talk about Bloodhound's Fang a little bit. It seems like everybody knows about and rates this weapon very high. I wouldn't rate this weapon as high as people are saying it, and I also have more tips and tricks about this weapon than I think most are showing off that really showcase the actual proper use of the weapon. And too many people are just throwing out Bloodhound's finesse in neutral instead of using it to return to neutral or using it to stance break an enemy, particularly a large enemy, using this backwards momentum to get yourself into a position that's really good on taking the grab and getting that visceral attack, or even getting a nice little burrito charge or two before taking that visceral attack. Usually, before patch 1.10, I wouldn't have even thought about running a build that would rely on getting good damage when you have a stance break from criticals, or even looking at it past then, I thought that Bloodhound's Fang was just very unreliable in making use of critical hits, because using something that does big stance damage and takes you away from an enemy, well, that's just not very efficient at dealing damage when a stance is broken. Even if you have the good charge, or not charge, the R2 follow-up that takes you towards the enemy, generally you either want to break the stance with this and then go up and maybe get a charged R2 and then take the grab, or you want to return to neutral, see what the enemy's doing. Okay, doing not much. You can follow up with that attack, and then that could break the stance, in which case you're right up in the enemy's face as its stance broken, and you can do whatever. Usually take the grab. What I have here, I'm level 67. I've just defeated Blackblade, Kindred, and Grail up in Dragon Barrow. I've got Bloodhound's Fang +6. Got all these stats here. Definitely go Hero or Prophet. Those two are the best starting classes for the stat spread. You want 15 Faith and at least 10 Arcane. Now, the Prophet's going to have 16 Faith, and then you can bump up the Arcane up to 10. And then the Hero here that I have is going to have 11 Arcane, and then you can bump the Faith up to 15. You want the Arcane and Faith at this point because of very specific spells. You probably already know what these are, but in case those who don't, it's Flame Grant Me Strength and Blood Flame Blade. Blood Flame Blade obviously has very good synergy as the Bloodhound's Fang can be buffed, and it does bleed, so adding additional damage and bleed, very nice. The fire buff is rather limited on it, and it'll always be around 45, 46, so being able to have just an unupgraded seal and being able to get that same amount of buff, that's excellent. Eventually, you're going to encounter a bunch of enemies that can't be bled, and for that, you're going to want to buff it up with either a Grease or use the seal once it's upgraded for Electrify Armament. Conveniently enough, Flame Grant Me Strength and Electrify Armament require 15 Faith. Now, Flame Grant Me Strength is going to buff up all of your physical and fire damage by 15%. That 15% boost is going to stack multiplicatively with Golden Vow, which we just have on a light dagger here. This is going to add in a bunch of physical resistance and not just physical resistance. What am I saying? All types of damage buffed, all types of resistance buffed. And that, of course, is going to stack with your Flame Grant Me Strength. So, very, very spicy here. Something that isn't really mentioned that much with Flame Grant Me Strength is it also boosts your stamina regen, which is going to stack with your Great Turtle Shell. It's also going to stack with the Green Turtle Talisman. I have no skill on this, just in case I don't buff it by accident, or not buff it by accident, just in case like I have the Sacred Dagger and this out at the same time. I don't want to try to parry by accident or what have you. I just want it to be no skill so that I can buff up efficiently. I have this infused Sacred instead of just standard or heavy or keen or anything, just because of, again, buff efficiency, just in case I don't buff this. Weapons that are infused elementally cannot be buffed again, so I don't have any risk of accidentally dropping a Bloodflame Blade on this while I'm buffing up. It's just these little minor details. It's just convenient. That's all. They don't really make too much of a difference. It's all inconvenience as you are learning the buff routine, as you are learning things. That's all. Bloodhound's Fang, the stats we're going to go for are eventually going to be 36 strength and 50 dex. This is going to be just the better scaling once we hit level 150. Level 150 is just going to be good for PVE. I don't see any idea of restraining yourself to 125 if you're not going to be doing any PvP. But even then, there are a lot of PvP activity up at level 200. So keeping yourself at 150 seems to be the general PvE consensus build threshold. So we'll just keep it like that. Considering 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, we're going to have 30 Endurance at the end of this. Then that 36 Strength and 50 Dex is going to be fantastic. Two-handed is going to modify that 36 in terms of scaling for damage. And that's going to get us a stat spread effectively of 52. Or what is it? No, we have 36. So 54. And then it's going to be 50. Now, even with that in mind, two-handed or one-handed, not going to matter because Bloodhound's Fang, Bloodhound's Finesse here, this and every other Ash of War deals one-handed damage. Even if you're two-handing it, it deals one-handed damage, which is super weird and really, really strange because Bloodhound's Finesse already does amazing damage. But again, another benefit of being able to have Bloodhound's Finesse deal the same damage one-handed as two-handed is if we want to take this away from an enemy and just keep us reset to neutral, then we could have something in the offhand. Eventually it's going to be like a pulley crossbow, and then we can shoot out some triple bleed bolts or sleep bolts or do all sorts of shenanigans to help us dominate from range versus a tough enemy or a mini-boss or a boss. And that's going to be fantastic at dealing whatever status we need to. Maybe even frost bolts, poison bolts if we have in the future Kindred of Rot's Exaltation in the Mushroom Crown. That could work. Rot bolts as well could work for that. Any offhand shenanigans are going to be great. In the future, if there is some sort of Dex Faith scaling talisman, that's going to be fantastic. That might be a really good addition so that you can get yourself away, reset to neutral, and then cast something interesting. And you could even reset a buff if you know the enemy is going to do something that takes a long animation and they're committed. Feel free to reset your buffs like that. That would be good as well. Now, generally, again, don't just spam this. I see so many people just keep spamming this and spamming it and spamming it. And it just reduces your skills in terms of the fundamentals down so little that I see rarely people talking about finishing the game with Bloodhound's Fang. I hear a lot about people playing the game who are noobs and otherwise would not enjoy Elden Ring. I see a lot of that. But I do not hear nearly as much people saying, oh, I finished the game with it. And I've actually seen a streamer that I'm acquainted with stop playing Elden Ring because there were no fundamentals. And after a huge roadblock in the game with the tough boss, the streamer just stopped playing. And that's tragic because, of course, the main weapon was Bloodhound's Fang. And there was a whole bunch of spam into this. The L2, R2. And not much else going on. Even though it has a solid jumping heavy attack, which is classic. I mean, that's just a very simple spammable move on its own on just about every weapon. Jumping heavy. Classic. Being able to do jumping heavy on an enemy and getting rid of that end lag with one of these, very spicy. Being able to take the grab and then follow up as an enemy's getting up with your R2, and then resetting to neutral, very spicy. Just throwing out this all day long, not particularly spicy. But it'll get people through most of the encounters in however many tries or what have you. And instead of learning, a lot of people will just say, oh, the game's hard, the game's hard. No, there's much to be learned, and we can make this game a lot easier and I think much more satisfying as we discover and make use of more mechanically effective strategies. Now, I have some clips for you of when I was rune level 60, just taking out these guys. I have Bloodhound's Fang +6. That's all we can get at the moment in this early area. I've got Bloodhound's. I got it to +6 by farming up the crystal miners in here to get that 1% chance for a Somber 3. There's a Somber 4 right in here in this cave as well. There's a few of them actually. And then there is a Somber 5 not too far from here. There's like a little path right here, this path on the map. You go to the end of it, there's a Somber 5 right there. And then the Somber 6 is at the end of this boss here. I just got this weapon, a Somber 5, and then took out the Falling Star Beast for the Somber 6. So that's smooth enough. The Somber 1s and 2s are all around Limgrave. You'll be able to find them eventually and get them up just fine. I also want to mention there is more to just a dex-focused quality build than just Bloodhound's Fang, and that it's not going to dominate every single encounter, and you should experiment. Even though there's so much bias because you can get a Somber weapon so high up in power early, and even in the mid-game you can get this Somber 10 before any other regular smithing stone weapon gets close to that level. So there's a lot of bias towards Somber weapons and a lot of bias towards Bloodhound's Fang because it is so cool. Let's not kid ourselves. This is an amazing looking weapon with all of this flair and the simple synergy involving Bloodhound's Fang with Bloodflame Blade. Of course, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's lovely. We look at other options too. Eventually, a Lightning Zweihander is going to be really sick. Using this with Lion's Claw or maybe throwing Lightning Slash on this is going to lead to a huge amount of damage up front. We'll be able to be proactive instead of very reactive with just if you're just going to be spamming the Ash of War here. Being able to use this with a variety of Ash of Wars and have all of the hits done and additional staggering on its attacks as a Colossal Sword compared to a Curved Greatsword is going to make this a fantastic option during other builds, and this is going to be my primary Smithing Stone upgrade. Currently I have heavy load with my setup. My current armor setup I'll get to in a bit has 51 poise, so that I can tank through a lot of boss and regular enemy light attacks. Very nice. Twin Blade is also very nice. This thing is just phenomenal, and eventually I'm going to have Godskin Peeler here. Just a fantastic option. I mean, all sorts of DPS, and you can throw on Spinning Slash, you can throw on a great deal of Ashes of War like Glintstone Phalanx that are going to provide a lot of stance damage so that you can go out and deal a ton of DPS to the staggered enemy with your normal R1 moveset. This is just going to cover you for so many different options. Maybe if you need a great deal of DPS for a certain fight on a stance broken enemy instead of just taking the grab with your Bloodhound's Fang, then go on and do Twin Blade. The sheer amounts of versatility with the Ashes of War 2 might cover you when the Bloodhound's Fang does not. So keep your Twin Blade in your pocket if you're running this type of dex-focused quality build for the Bloodhound's Fang, and it'll treat you nice. Ice Rain Hatchet is just fantastic. People who are a fan of my Ice Rain Hatchet miniseries, I will continue with this effectively, and I'll just be messing around with Bloodhound's Fang and all these other options on this dex-focused quality build just to build up some proper skill with this setup. I find it fascinating, and maybe it'll be even better come DLC with other unique options, but right now I love the idea of Ice Rain Hatchet and all these other interesting unique options. This one is sort of a weird combo where, yes, it has Frostbite and it has DPS, which is fantastic. Hoarfrost Stomp is just okay, but being able to have a good Charge R2 chain as well as that good dex-focused quality scaling, is going to be spicy in the future. And it's going to be a fantastic secondary somber option for you. I just have a large club here. Mainly it's good for taking out all the miners in the Celia Crystal Tunnel so that you can farm up your Somber 3. And also just get through so that you can kill the Falling Star Beast at the end. It's also great when you first teleport here to take out all the little nasty bugs, the Kindreds of Rot enemies. Oh man, they can be brutal, but they are glass cannons, and you can break their stance with one jumping heavy attack from this weapon here. Fantastic. Finger Seal, again, just to get my buffs on. Got some shields here, really just focus on the stamina regen one, but just in case I want to do some offhand shenanigans because of the one-handed nature of Ash's War damage. Might have a Rickety Shield here, maybe with Carry and Retaliation, so that I can keep on some pressure with nice parrying and or spell parrying. That would be very nice. Maybe in the future Golden Parry as well, that would be cool. Armor here, let's get to this. Great Helm, Knight Armor, Gauntlets, Knight Greaves. Super basic stuff that you can get pretty early. I had to get up to 22 Endurance so that I could medium load this with all of this setup up here. That might change, I might have to go more because I still haven't killed Margit, so my second Talisman slot option. I don't know exactly what it'll be, but it'll probably be Erdtree's favor, but yeah. Definitely go Green Turtle Talisman over Axe Talisman, because even though sometimes we are getting our charged R2, the secondary chain of the charged heavy attack is this really painful double hit, which just takes forever. It takes forever to get off, and I would much rather just be one single hit. That would make it so much better of a charged heavy chain. I mean, watch as I uncharge it or partially charge it there. Very nice. If that was just the full animation, that would be fantastic. And I would use it a lot, and I would say, throw in your Axe Talisman, use your spiked cracked crystal tier, and go to town as they stack multiplicatively to boost your damage into absurd levels. But for now, I would save that for the Zweihander. It has this beautiful poking charge R2. Just fantastic in that case. Use your Green Turtle Talisman. Stamina and stamina regen is used for pretty much everything. So keep in mind that it's going to be great for offense, defense, you name it. And it's going to stack with your other options like Flame, Grammy Strength, and Green Turtle Shell. Just fantastic, fantastic. For our physic here, we have right now, well, that's the wrong thing. Oh, why am I doing this? Physic. Stone Barbed Cracked Crystal Tier. Yes, I killed the Dragon Barrow, Erdtree, or Putrid Avatar early. I love killing him early. It's just a fun time. I love killing that boss. Gives you like 92k runes, which is fantastic. And we have the Dex Knot Crystal here for even more damage. I'm going to show you guys just the proper damage that we have after our little buff routine at the end here. Physic. Golden Vow. We're going to order these in a very specific way to get a lot of good cooldown overlap. And now we two-hand, and we have 644 attack power. Fantastic. And of course, that's just going to get modified by all of our additional moves, and we are going to be doing amazing damage. One blue flask here, just to keep ourselves using Bloodhound's Fang. Ash of War whenever we need to. And yeah. That's going to be the setup and things that I think that could be learned from. And I'm going to show you guys some clips. Hope you enjoy that. I'll be doing commentary over, and take care. Okay, here we have clip number 1. I'm rune level 60, same sort of +6 setup, all the buffs, all that, all the armor. And I have a failed fight and then a successful fight with Blackblade Kindred, and I'll be able to show you guys exactly what went wrong. Bloodhound's Fang is so much of a neuron activating option that it is just, you just want to go for style all the time, and you have to resist that urge, because when you perform well enough, you are going to get style anyway. Sometimes there's not going to be, but sometimes there is. So that already fantastic option. Just enemy is fixing up to land an attack. Okay, I'm gonna Bloodhound's Fang, and then I'm gonna return to neutral. That one was a mistake. I almost got punished heavily there, but that first one, breaking the stance, taking me back to the boss, dealing good damage, and then getting a grab on top of that was just fantastic. This boss is hella janky anyway, with the stairs verticality. It could fuck you over, it could fuck the boss over. It is just pure jank, and this boss is just kind of cringe. But after many, many attempts, it becomes very satisfying with your understanding. So that, I went for a very foolish jumping heavy attack. Didn't end up working out. And yeah, just one shot because this enemy is meant for the late game. And I'm fighting him pretty early. I'm fighting him pre-Margit, pre-Godric. This is what I do in every run though so far. And it's just helps me flesh out a build and get all of my weird little requirements like mind, getting a decent amount of endurance, getting this and that out of the way. You know, killing Grail, killing all these bosses early, and the sleeping dragon stuck into the ground up here. It's just very good for getting these silly requirements out of the way so that you can focus on the actual build or just a couple of stats for your build. Broke his stance. Again, there's going to be a lot of not using Bloodhound's finesse in this fight. Just following up with the heavy attack. Being careful. That was a really bad attempt at a jumping heavy attack. Again, that first use of the charge R2. Just the first one. Really bad. Really, really bad Bloodhound's finesse. Again, just doing it randomly in neutral, you see how I got heavily punished there. Heavily, heavily punished. In neutral, in these situations, when I know I might get punished if I stick to that animation, again, just punishing him with a charged R2 or a jumping heavy attack. Charge heavy, boom. Simple. Just keep it simple. Again, charged heavy attack punish. Broke the stance, go up. Tried to get the grab. Instead, we get some charged R1s here. Again, that verticality kind of fucking me over. I'm so used to it by now with this boss. It is just okay. Again, these charged heavy attacks just clipping his arm. Again, verticality now messing him up a little bit. Janky ass boss. Look at this. Verticality, man. But yeah, no, this boss setting doesn't really fit the boss mechanics. And it doesn't seem like it was particularly tested. They just thought he would look cool here. And he does. He looks great. Like, can't lie. He looks fantastic. It's lore appropriate. You know, the Destined Death shenanigans. Great Bloodhound's Fang there. Or Bloodhound's Finesse. Just being able to, in the middle of his combo, potentially break stance. And then use the next to reapproach, potentially get the grab, it was great. So being able to use it in the middle of his long sword combo, amazing punish. I should do that much more often. Really bad attempt at the charge R2. Should have waited until the full combo was over. Just like this, there's going to be Bloodhound's Finesse. And look at the style. I mean, look at the style. If you wait until the moment is right, and then you use it in a good way, you will be rewarded with style and a fantastic feeling of satisfaction. I mean, that is just amazing. I want to replay that. Let's replay that a little bit here. Okay. Oh, come on. Come on, man. Why are we being like this? Here we go. Oof. Approach the boss. Again, using it in such a position so that I don't go too far away from the grab spot and then get back to it. Fantastic. That way, if I just want to not do the full thing, I don't have to. I can take the grab either way. Let's say if my stamina or FP is at a certain level, it's too low to get the follow-up hit, I don't have to. I'm right there anyway. So being able to position your Bloodhound's Finesse in such a way where you have all of this versatility at your disposal, that's going to be key to this weapon. Now, let's get the next clip ready. Okay. This is a Grail fight, which I try to be stylish. I try to be stylish. This is after being functional and unstylish, just thwacking away at his legs, getting a bleed, so on and so forth. I try to be stylish, and by forcing the stylish nature, sometimes it just doesn't mechanically work out. And this is a great example of that. Again, we're just chipping away at his legs here. Good damage on board at this point in the game right now. I have to keep all this stamina use in mind. It is still a curved greatsword. We got to keep it in mind. We got some weird RNG with the Grail patterns here. He jumps away and then he immediately jumps up again, which kind of sucks. Man, some of this dragon AI is real janky. But again, just very, very simple. Okay, you know, he's going to take a steppy. I'm going to go to the other leg. He's already at half health. Smooth gaming. He goes and breathes fire. Go away. Back in. This is just very smooth dragon killing gameplay. Just on horseback, calm as you like. It's not going to work against the likes of, say, an Exeek or a Borealis because of their immense AoE breath and such. But against a pretty standard dragon like Grail here, it's going to be just fine. Here I've broken the stance. We hop over the wing and we get a bleed, but we don't have all of the access to his grab spot. It's in the building. It's very janky. It's a shame that it went inside the bridge. And honestly, if I didn't have that jank there, I would have finished him off, even if I had no stamina for the second part of Bloodhound's Finesse to finish him off. Again, there's another stylish attempt. Totally worthless. But, yeah, if I didn't have that jank there, I would have just been able to walk and then run over to his grab point, take the grab, and kill him. And this is just because the Bloodhound's Finesse was just positioned in such a good way. Usually, in order to get these positioning just right, you want your angle to be good. If you can do it at an angle on this big enemy, or in such a way where you're going backwards towards the head, then you're able to have good success. And I kill him anyway. Bit unsatisfied, but I'm not unsatisfied with the 80,000 runes. Let's go to the next clip. Okay. We have an example of just using it after a wake up to add extra spice. Here it's just, there's the raw damage, there's what it can do. That's inconsistent, okay? Throwing it out neutral like that, that's an inconsistent way. I'm going to show you the better way. So this enemy, you can just get the grab immediately, very reliable way. You can punish the wake up with the charge R2, and then follow up with the Bloodhound's Finesse. And if he turtles, it doesn't matter because you can kill him with the follow-up. It's just a simple, good way that just demolishes any Knight-type enemy on wake-up. Okay, now here's this Troll-type enemy here. This is just a good example of angling your Bloodhound's Finesse in a good way, and so that you can get yourself right to the I almost said staggered point, to the stance broken point earlier. Again, that's a display of doing it in neutral. Yes, it does work. Here's the more interesting way, maybe if you don't have so much damage on board versus a big boss or something. And so here is going to be your just really good positioning. You don't have to use all of the Bloodhound's Finesse. Again, stomp. 1 R2. Stance broken, and I'm right at his head, which means an easy grab. And that's what you want to do to large bosses right there. Stylish kill, and you're going to get these stylish kills on bosses too, and have good combat skills.